What's up, businesses? I'm Nadia Asencio, and this is Girl Talks. Welcome to Girl Talks. My name is Nadia Asencio, and I'm here with my co-host, Anthony Tadone.
How you doing, all?
So, Anthony and I work together on Miami Talks, which is spelled just like Girl Talks, TOX, and we interview people on the street and ask them questions, and they answer us sometimes.
Well, she interviews, I just film everything.
Right, and then we edit together, and it's like murder.
Absolutely.
Absolute murder. And then we argue, and then we watch a movie. And
feel all better again until we get back into strangling each other while editing.
Right, and then there's yelling, pots are thrown, and then we go watch another movie. And then basically that's why editing takes us like fucking days to do, even if it's a 10-minute video.
Oh, man. I think actually our shortest editing time was a 20-minute long video. Wasn't that crazy?
Yep.
20-minute long.
Absolutely.
Normally 5-minute videos, 3 days.
It's
20
true.
minutes, 1 to
Absolutely.
3 hours. What was it?
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's true. Because you have to make it short, and you have to like pick out the best, right?
Yes.
The best audio, the best visuals, the best everything, and cram it all together into like a 5, 6, 7-minute video. When a lot of things happen. Well, when it's a 20-minute video, it's like, oh, everything can just, we could just put everything down there, whatever. So that's what we do. And now we're doing this. And so our guest tonight is Julie Baez, and she is an amazing comedian extraordinaire here in Miami, where Anthony and I are based. And, well, you guys are going to get to hear it for yourselves. But before we get into that, I want to tell everyone about my day. Anthony, how was your day?
My day was good until I got a random phone call 5 times, but I was asleep at the moment.
But who sleeps through fucking 5 phone calls, Anthony?
When the phone is on silent.
Yeah. Why? First of all, who does that? What kind of a person are you?
Somebody who wants to sleep, apparently.
No, you don't do that.
I will never do it again.
Never do it again.
Never again.
I never, listen, my phone is never on fucking silent. Only at the movies, and it's on vibrate. Like, I wouldn't even shut off my phone if somebody paid me to, because I'm just scared that something's going to happen, and I'm not going to know, or something, I don't know. You know what I mean? I just feel like responsible to everyone. I have to have my phone on all the time. So Anthony is not going to do that anymore. And what was that message that you got?
What message I got?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Wait, what are you talking about?
What message did you get?
Oh, yes, the message. The message I got from Nadia, she lost her key.
No, it's not my key. It was my car key.
Oh, yes, the car key.
Right.
Yes.
The thing is that it's the only car key, and it's a car key that has buttons that cost $325 to replace.
Very expensive.
Very expensive. So we were last night at an event. My husband's a chef, and we had to go to an event and whatever. Fun times all around. Way too much liquor. I mean, way. If you guys know anything about the restaurant industry, you will know that people who work in the restaurant industry can drink. Like a lot. Like, so whatever. And we were at this event, and we got home safe and sound. It wasn't far from our home, and we got home fine. And then friends were over, and then I jumped in my friend's car to go get cigarettes. Apparently.
Well, apparently getting cigarettes is also a bad thing besides just smoking them.
Right, because yeah. Then
that's when the car keys disappeared.
Well, we didn't know that until, and then we came back, and we were upstairs, and then we were talking, and then I went to sleep. And then you guys left, and then I went back to sleep. And then this morning, when my husband's about to go to work, is when we discovered that the car keys.
Of course. When you need them.
When you need them. Like, literally, he's leaving. He has all his stuff, and he's like, he calls me Birdie. Birdie, where are the car keys? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't drive.
Yeah, she did drive.
But I did drive, apparently. So then that's when we realized, and then we were looking for them for like 2 hours, and then I had to like call you a million times, and then you didn't pick up the phone.
Well, she called me when she was asking for the keys, and 2 hours later, then she called again saying if I could take Juan to work.
Yes.
So at least I got to hear that part of the message.
Yes. Yes, which was very nice of you, Anthony. He took Juan to work and everything was cool, but the car keys are still fucking missing. And then here's the thing. So my mom comes over and she's like, oh, no, don't worry. I have AAA. Like, we'll get it. Like, we'll call the locksmith. Cool. So we call the locksmith. Guy comes over here, taking really long to get my key. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? What is this guy doing in my car? So he calls me over or whatever. And he's like, look, I want you to look at this. I made 2 separate keys for you. And look what the computer says. So the computer, he, plugs it into the car, and the computer says, yeah, the key reads it. This is the key to turn on this car now. And yet it won't turn on because the anti-theft device will not allow the car to get turned on because apparently that car had an accident that the dealer didn't tell us about.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that is why the anti-theft device kicked on, and now we couldn't turn on the car. So after the guy had been there for like an hour, he's like, look, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. I didn't get the key, obviously $175 for a regular key, not even the one with the buttons. And so now tomorrow I have to go to the dealership and rip them a new one for not telling us that the car, and for not resetting the ECU. And now they have to do that. And honestly, I think they owe me a key.
They should.
I'm telling you.
That's ridiculous.
That's fucking ridiculous. Like, you sell me a car that got into an accident, you don't even redo the ECU, and then like now I try to get this done, and then I can't even turn on my car. So I have no car, but I have a great mother. She lent me her car.
Very good.
Yes,
Very good.
But this has to get taken care of. So that was the stress level when Julie came over. But Julie is an amazing person, and she's fucking hilarious.
She brought the mood nice and easy. We were all having a good time.
Yes.
She ate some of Nadia's cooking and loved every minute of it.
Exactly, because I can cook. Not as good as my husband, but I try. I do my part.
Hey, I enjoy it every time I get to eat.
Well, thank you, Anthony. And he says that so he can continue to eat. Because the minute he fucking criticizes me, will be the last meal he has in my home.
And I'll be eating ice cubes only.
Exactly.
From her freezer.
Exactly.
And I have to sneak it in.
Precisely. So, you know better. Julie got lost, and that was hilarious in and of itself. And she was riding around in a circle, which is hilarious. So she put us all in a great mood. So let's get to it. Let's listen to our interview. And yeah, you guys, here's Julie Baez, comedian extraordinaire.
Enjoy. And we're good to go.
Okay, so we're here with our very good friend, comedian extraordinaire, Julie Baez.
Thank you for having me, Nadia.
Thank you for being here. Oh my God, so this is our first podcast. I'm so excited and thrilled that you are our guest.
Thanks for having me.
Because we love you.
I love you too.
And it's amazing what you're doing. And you know Girl Talk's all about women and powerful women.
That's right, girls, man. Girls rule.
That's right, bitches. Bitches, they got their shit going on, right? So I'm just gonna ask you some basic questions, and you're gonna fill in all the blanks.
Yes.
With your comedic genius, if you will. First of all, tell us how you got into comedy.
Wow. Really? I was suicidal. No, I'm kidding. I was just working a lot, and I wanted to start writing comedy.
When did you start?
I started about 2.5 years ago on Mother's Day.
Really?
Oh,
I was like, fuck these kids.
I hate them. All right, and so then
No, but it was really about me, right? Mother's Day is a gift for yourself, and
Of course.
everybody's showing you appreciation, but you never really take the time to appreciate yourself.
Right.
And when I had the kids, and I've always taken care of my family, I never really took care of myself. And I wanted to start writing again because I wrote in high school and some in college. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start writing.
You had a diary.
Yeah, I had journals and all that.
Dear diary.
Yeah. Which my mom would find and be like, mira, ¿qué tú dices aquí de mí? You know, like.
Because your mom is what? She's Cuban.
She's Dominican.
She's
I'm
Dominican.
Dominican. I'm
Okay.
Dominican. I mean, Cubanized, but yeah. But then I wanted to learn the underground because I didn't want to be a writer and then someone tell me, well, you don't know what it's like on stage with a
Right.
real audience. So I kind of wanted to learn the basics, the underground of it. And then it pulled me in without me even knowing it. My first open mic.
So wait, you started right off and just doing open mics?
I did. I went to Artistic Vibes. It was a
Okay.
Sunday, Mother's Day.
Artistic Vibes, for people who don't know, is what?
Artistic Vibes is a home for local artists. It's a artist-owned business. Quills Rodriguez and Vanessa Thompson, they provide a space for artists, whether you're a musician.
So it's like a bar?
Actually, it's a warehouse.
Okay.
But it's probably the best homey environment. I mean, there's couches. There's chalk on the wall. You could put like little comments. I love you, whatever. Julie was here, whatever you want to write. But the ambience of it, the moment you walk in, it's like you're at home, and everybody makes you feel welcomed.
And how'd you find out about that place?
I Googled like open mics.
Okay, so you have no idea.
All I knew was Miami Improv. Everybody
Okay.
only knows comedy, Miami Improv, which, it's closed now for
Right.
almost 2 years.
That's the one that's was in the Grove.
In the Grove, right?
Yeah.
Which that's where I've seen comedy. That I've never seen comedy anywhere else
Right.
except at the Miami Improv. Since I was a kid, I would sneak in underage,
Right.
and just see all the celebrity comedians. But I went to Artistic Vibes and did my first mic. I had like
How nervous were you?
It wasn't as bad, but again, because they made you feel so good about being part of that room and this and that, and it's your first time. Congratulations, we're gonna pop your cherry. So it wasn't that bad. I think it was the second time when I realized, okay, the first time everyone's gonna like, yay, good job, buddy. Oh, it's her first time. Clap a little harder and laugh a little. And then the second time I'm like, okay, I'm not really that funny. Who the fuck told me I was funny?
When did you I mean, what made you feel like that? Was it just
when people just didn't laugh? No, I think it's pressure,
Yeah.
And then you see other comedians, and they're like, "Wow, that guy or this girl's funny."
Right.
And then also there wasn't that many female comics. There was
Right.
probably, I could say 5 off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
And little by little, it just started growing to see. Maybe there were female comics, but they weren't working.
Right.
They weren't on stage working, so I didn't see many female comedians.
Oh God.
And then I decided to take an actual writing class.
Where?
Miami Improv, they provided a comedy 101.
Wow.
I mean, I think it's kind of dorky. I mean, if you're a real comedian, you don't need to learn. You're just funny.
Right.
I'm sure that Eddie Murphy and Paul Mooney and all these, legends didn't have to take a writing class. They
Right.
just took notes and went on stage and did it. But again, I wanted to learn the fundamentals, like what not to do, or the rule of threes, and things like that I didn't know.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to work during that class with Forrest Shaw. He had won he had won Ultimate Comedian, Miami Ultimate Comedian at that year that I had taken the class, and then he moved to LA. So I kind of was very lucky to have the last few weeks with him and just learn. Just the other night, he opened for Jim Jeffries.
Wow.
He's been on
Nice.
the Conan O'Brien. I mean, this guy, he made it. I mean, he's really, really funny.
And he came out of here.
He came out of here. Yeah, he used to work, I think he was a marine biologist, and he worked over like the Key Biscayne.
Wow. Yeah.
Or something to those, because I know he likes manatees and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I was very lucky to grab some knowledge and pick his brain.
Right.
And I was just very lucky. I think if I didn't have Forrest as a teacher, he used to hate that, where he hates professor teacher. I'm like, teacher, profe,
Right.
But I think if I didn't have a good teacher,
Mentor. Whatever,
yeah, exactly, I would
Absolutely.
probably not have continued, or maybe not taking it as seriously.
But that's so important, though, right?
Absolutely.
No matter what you're gonna do, and like you said, Eddie Murphy probably just gets up there. Maybe not. Maybe he had a really
Maybe he
good
did.
mentor.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
good mentors really matter.
Absolutely.
Because they tell you like what the pitfalls are and where to go, and
Yeah.
they give you the confidence too to know that you're not alone,
Right.
so to speak.
So once you do the improv, you get like a little graduation night, and you invite all your friends. And again, this is the moment you feel like you're a comedian, because
Right.
everybody's laughing, everyone's supporting you.
Right.
But the real test is on the real stage that you don't know anybody. And no one's ever seen or heard of you. They don't know anything about you, and it's 5 minutes of you making them like you.
Or trying to.
Yeah. So
Okay, let me ask you. Going back, if you could say like, what's the best piece of advice that Forrest ever gave you? Like, what would it be? Honestly, like, what is the one thing that you?
the one
still
thing that
keep?
he did tell me was, and it's truth, clean comedy gets you more gigs, gets you better paid gigs. So being a clean comedian, not using blue content and bad words and things like that. But then I've met other celebrity comedians, and I'm like, hey, I gotta ask you a question. Someone wants to, bitch, do whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm like, all right. No, I remember, as a matter of fact, it was Lil Nell. I don't know if you guys know, black comedian Lil Nell. She was at the Full Out Improv a couple of months back, and I had asked her late night one night after, at the after party, whatever, and I said, I want to ask you a question. She's like, your first motherfucking problem is
Oh my
you're listening to all these motherfuckers. And I'm like, I guess you're right. Because she's up there cussing the whole time.
I was going to ask you that. What about Amy Schumer?
Yeah.
She does nothing but blue humor.
Yeah, and then also like Lisa Lampanelli,
exactly.
the queen of insults.
Exactly.
I don't know when I started clean. I don't know when I said my first bad word and I got a reaction. And
which was what reaction?
A bunch like, whoa, people
loved it.
Yeah. And then there's some comedians that might say, just because you curse more or if you use more profanity doesn't mean you're funnier. But I do believe it adds more emphasis, and I do believe it adds more aggression, and it has more meaning when I say, Michael, don't do that. I'm like, Michael, what the fuck are you doing? Like, like
yes.
Obviously, I don't talk to my children like that, but, it's
But
really...
people can relate to that.
Absolutely.
Because if you talk, I get the clean gig thing.
Yeah.
But you get more gigs, better paying gigs.
Yeah.
But are there really gigs that you want?
Yes. Every gig I want. I do. I don't care if it's $5. I want the exposure. I want the stage time. Mm-hmm. I think for me it was like, okay, I want stage time. I want to learn. I want to get up there and just learn, be able to get on as many possible stages and be allowed to come back. Mm-hmm. Right? And you're really funny, or the audience really liked you. They interacted with you very well. We want you to come back. That's the key. To having a returning gig and then not have to spread it all around the country or the town to look for a spot.
Yeah. So you still have your day job, right?
I have a day job, yep.
And so you've been doing the comedy thing for 2.5 years, and now where are you on your journey thus far? Are you still like in the beginning stages?
Absolutely. This is a long-term commitment. A lot of trials, a lot of issues, a lot of things, So I starting my own rooms. I had several rooms last year. One of the best rooms was South Beach Cabaret, which recently closed this summer, and they've relocated to another location. And I recently also left Stash, Fort Lauderdale, and they're rotating hosts now, finding another candidate. I think it's better opportunities for me to not host as much and work again on the initial process of writing, working on a timely set, like a 30-minute hour special. Then next step would be getting some DVD recordings and then, things like that, just to progress and have a longer set, not just do open mics.
Because hosting takes,
a lot of time.
You're not really,
absolutely. You're promoting. You are the booker. You're responsible to have a backup in case somebody or maybe your headliner couldn't make it.
Right.
It's just a lot of work. I still have 2 rooms right now.
Where?
I have Everything Entertainment, which you guys came recently.
Right.
Thank you for being there. It was fantastic to
having
have you.
us.
No, great. It's a really new room, and I didn't expect you guys to be there that same day, but Miami has potential for so much opportunities in comedy, especially since the Improv closed. Not that many people know where to go.
Right.
So I have that one in Sunset Place at Everything Entertainment, co-hosted with Isabella Patty. Mm-hmm. And then I have...
I gotta tell you, because Anthony's heard this a million times, I think her name is hilarious.
Isabella Patty?
Is that really her name?
That's really her name.
Is her name really Patty?
Patty.
Her last name is Patty.
Correct.
I don't believe her.
Of
I
course.
think she's being a liar, and I think she's making up that name.
Well, she was raised
I want to call her
by
Peppermint Patty.
She is Cuban, but she was adopted by a Jamaican family. So I think that's a pretty popular last name or something like that. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that.
Me neither. I was like,
or maybe she changed it. Who knows? Like, my name's not really Julie.
Your name's not Julie?
No, of course not. I got a real J job, And then I have...
so that's your stripper name?
Yes, my stage name. And then I have...
then now that you brought this up.
Yeah.
When you started off, were you in the same job that you're in now?
Of course.
Okay, were you, not telling anybody at work?
I still don't tell anybody at work.
Okay, has anyone from work shown up at one of your gigs and you've been yes. Shit?
It was probably 6 months in, former comedy club Catskills in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
It's kind of like an underground club next to an abortion clinic.
Okay.
And
nothing's funnier than abortion.
And like a ballet studio for kids.
Oh my God.
And just all these criminal comics and just degenerate people, smoking cigarettes and drinking bottle out of the Zephyr Hills, vodka out of Zephyr Hills bottles.
I got it.
I was at a show and my friends came. And it was a showcase. As a matter of fact, it was one of the first showcase. I had already done a 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. this one was hosted by a comedian, AZ. He's been in the industry for many, many years. Really great. He's worked with Amy Schumer and things like that. So it was huge for him to even notice me.
How'd you get that?
He just saw me at Catskills working one night, like an open mic. He's like, I want to do you.
So open mics do work?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So I was sitting, my friends were like, do you recognize those people in the front row? I'm like, yeah, the people who weren't laughing, yeah. And it ended up being like the finance team for the company I work for.
Oh, goodness.
And I think they recognized me, but they weren't sure from where. Like, we know that black girl.
Oh.
I don't know from where, but she works for us, doesn't she? Like, I don't know. But that was it.
Did anybody mention it when you went back to work?
No.
So they still don't know?
No. I think they will eventually. Like, they go to YouTube one day, or Miami Talks, or or a comedy show. No, I don't like to blend both of them. My life during the day is corporate life, and I don't curse around my clients and my boss. And he hates that I call him boss, but but I just, it's a different lifestyle where comedy is more like a fun hobby. Well, I'm not gonna say hobby because there's work involved.
Right.
But
you
it's
love it.
fun. I love it.
Work.
It's different.
Yeah.
I don't always have to be on my guard in comedy. Sometimes you do because you're still at a comedy club. You still have to act professional. You can't be getting drunk and just being absurd on stage.
Right.
Like the Improv is such a large chain of comedy clubs. You don't want to ruin it in one comedy club and not be hired at another one. So just things like that. Yeah. And obviously the people I hang out at night would not be hanging out with me. And vice versa.
Right.
I don't think it would work.
Okay, so then you have 2 kids.
I have 2 kids.
Okay, and how's that? Like, they obviously know that you're doing this. What do they have to say about it? What did your husband have to say about it? Let's start there.
My husband's Puerto Rican,
okay.
So I have to give him a lot of oral jobs. No, but honestly, I think he saw that I really had it in me. And he saw my set on video at the beginning. Now he's like, otra vez, this video. I'm like, can you just tell me what I did wrong? He's like, it's the same jokes. It's the same jokes, Julie. I'm like, but I said it different this time, In the beginning, he actually helped me write my comedy.
Okay, good.
Like, I was going down the stairs, babe, I got one for you. And I'm like, all right, go on,
Were they any good?
Now, yeah, I still use them.
Well, he's Puerto Rican. Puerto Ricans are hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I think he also realized, happy wife, happy life.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think he saw how much I really wanted this. He's never seen me probably. We've been together since I was 19 years old.
What?
So
and how long is
that's
that?
a long time. It's 15 years.
That's
I
awesome.
say it on my set. Usually people are like, I'm calculating. I'm like, shut up. But he's really, really amazing. I've never realized how amazing he was until he married me. I'm like, he's amazing. No, but he really is. He's a great father, great son, great brother. He's just an all-around great guy. So, we have our issues like every couple, like another fucking show. And I'm like, it's important. It's an open mic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so important for me to go to this open mic.
What does he do? Is he creative as well or no?
Nah. He's a bookworm, businessman. I think he's seen my set twice, maybe 3 times, and I forced him
to go.
Yeah. The first time was at graduation night at the Improv, which my mother-in-law came. Everybody came. My family-in-laws, my cousins, most of my husband's family. The only one who didn't go was my mom because she had to babysit the kids. In a way, I didn't want her to go.
Really?
I told her that.
Why?
I was that kid in school when you did the show and the ballet and the dance and the cheer. Your mom wouldn't be there. I was that kid like, where's my mom? Where's my mom? And then she'll show up at the end. Mija, I saw the whole thing. I'm like, you just got here.
Because what? Because she had a job? Or?
No, because that's just how she was. She just showed up at the end and donated to the PTA. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't really show support as an importance, especially in school. Like, for example, my little brother, he's on Broadway right now.
Wow. What does he do?
He is a captain for Finding Neverland. It's a Broadway show. He's a dance captain. He works for Mia Michaels. I mean,
so he's a choreographer.
He actually dances as well. And he says, Julie, if it wasn't for you taking me to these auditions and taking me to rehearsal and being at my show, I probably would have quit. And I always think back, well, I wish I had that support system when I was a kid.
Right.
Like, go, hija, you could do it, you know. And it was really me just going, and then eventually, like, okay, no one cares. No, like, Mom, can you take the picture? You know, no one cared. So I focused my primary adolescence, you know, in my little brothers. And I figured, you know, if I couldn't make it, someone's going to fucking make it and be better for themselves. And then years went by, and then I said, you know, I think it's my turn. You know, I think I'm going to go try something. And maybe it doesn't go in a decade, or maybe I next month I'm like, you know what, fuck comedy.
Right.
Because we all wake up one day feeling slightly discouraged, or just reality.
Or just tired of it.
Yeah, and reality, true, right? You know, I have a real life, real, you know, job and responsibilities and kids and after school projects and homework and whatever. So I think one day maybe I might wake up and say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. But at this moment, I love it. My husband is by far one of the most supportive people. People don't believe it. They're like, what? There must be something wrong in your relationship. I'm like, no, we both respect each other. Yeah, like right now, I was leaving the house and I told him I was coming here to do the show. And he's like, all right, bye. And he was almost like in a relief, like, oh, good, she's leaving. You know, like he wanted his alone time to watch History Channel or whatever it is he was gonna do. And I'm like, yeah, good riddance, huh? You want me to leave? Huh? You prefiero que esté en la calle? And he's like, no, babe, it's just good for both of us to have our space.
Absolutely, I totally agree. My husband is very supportive as well, and I can tell you, like, that's very important for women, and women that don't have that kind of support. It's just 10 times harder for them to do anything. And I've seen even women give up on what they want to do because their husband's like, oh, come on, let's, you know, whatever, let's go on vacation, or let's, you know, and then
alternate it to something, substitute it for something else. That's not,
substitute something else, which is meaningless. But, you know, they settle. And it's sad. But a lot of women, unfortunately,
my husband's completely opposite. I also think he feels like maybe if I do make it, he doesn't have to work.
Smart enough to know that.
He takes care of me since we've met. He's been taking care of everything. So I think that has something to do with it. He's like, you know, she's pretty good.
You never know.
Right?
You never know.
And then he can always sue me later on, but like, I wrote those jokes.
Exactly.
You know,
take half.
Exactly.
So he's like waiting.
That's actually what happened to Kevin Hart.
Up.
That's actually what happened to Kevin Hart.
Really?
His ex-wife
waited till he got famous.
Yeah, and then she sued him because all the jokes he had the first 10 years on HBO and all these shows were all about her and him, and she wrote some of those jokes with him. So some of the material, technically, she got paid for. Like, if it's run on HBO, she's getting paid for it.
So she's good.
Yeah.
Wow. And your husband's hoping
for
the same thing.
I'm not stupid. But, like, here's a good example. I got invited to perform in Syracuse at Funny Bone. I mean, I'm still like flabbergasted that I even got to go, being new in comedy. It's an all-female showcase. I think being a female helps me that they see that I'm working and I'm pushing and I'm bringing and taking and giving, you know. So I got invited. Angela Naka invited me. She's a headlining comedian. She's been touring. She's really great. She's in her early 50s and mid 50s. So she's been in the industry for a while though. But
here in South Florida.
Yeah, up north, Boca area.
Oh, okay.
So she referred me. I flew out there. They got me a place to stay. Treated me totally like a professional comedian. You know, not like, oh, she's just a guest spot. You know, they treated me like if I was a headliner, for example.
Great.
And I told my husband, oh, you know, going to Syracuse. He's like, oh, ¿qué tú te crees? Que tú vas a estar de viaje? You know, like, I'm like, babe, well, this is training for the real deal. And he starts to laugh, and he's like, all right, go. I'm like, really? Can I use your credit card? You know, and he's like, here's the Hawaiiana credit card, you know, whatever.
Right.
And I booked the credit, and I said, look, babe, I'll give you an hour blowjob. I did. Well,
Julie, if he can last an hour, you're doing something
here's what
wrong.
happened. So here's what happened. It was actually like 5 to 6 minutes, and then he's like, "You got 53 minutes." I'm like, "Nope, I didn't say." So that's your fault. You should have been thinking about basketball or Hitler or somebody
else. whatever.
So he's like, "You have 53 minutes left." I'm like, "I don't think so."
Oh, hell no.
So I went, and it was great. And then, you know, I was like, you know, babe, do you mind if I go to Buffalo and go to Niagara Falls? He's like, isn't that like 2 hours away? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do it. I'm like, really, babe? I'm terrified. You really, like, I'm terrified just going alone and traveling alone and all that alone without him.
Because you've been with him or the kids.
Yeah, always
family,
with, right. Unless
you.
it's work, but I'm always with somebody.
Right,
some like boss or a coworker or a client, somebody.
Right.
And he's like, go, rent a car, drive 2.5 hours, go see Niagara Falls, send me Periscope.
Awesome.
And send me pictures. Like, he didn't care. So that's how he is.
That's good.
He's
That's
really
very good.
like, just try it, go for it. He wasn't always that way, you know. I think he's loosening up, and he sees the motivation and the dedication I've put into it, and I think he doesn't want to take that from me. He's gonna let me decide when, I guess, is the right time to either stop or just keep going. Until then,
So let me ask you this: you have a daughter.
I have a daughter. She's 4.
Okay. How's your? I'm gonna tell you.
I started comedy when she was 2.
Okay, so she's used to seeing you this way.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, she's still very small. I do believe that she does see me getting dressed sometimes, but I put him to bed for, especially now, daylight we went back, fall back. You know, it's 7:30. I'm like, bedtime. But Mom, I'm like, it's 7:45. And they're used to going to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock. This really helps me out so I can get dressed and do tranquilita, everything. Doing spring's a little bit harder because it's still daylight and I have to be at the show by 8 or something.
Right.
But I'll put him in bed. My husband's good at doing the story time, distracting them while I sneak out or something so they don't see me leave as frequent. My son, he's 8. He's going to be 9 now in the end of the month. And he'll say things like, break a leg, Mom, have a good show. He's like, and he'll say things like, the audience likes it when, like things like that, like, you know.
He gives you advice.
Yeah, like the audience likes it when you thank them, you know, or,
Right.
and I'm like, thank you, sweetheart, I love you. And he's like, break a leg. But he too is like his father. He's like, yes, she's gone. Yes. Starts playing his Wii,
Bring
you
out
know.
the
He takes,
vodka.
yeah, no, he
It's
takes
story
out the
time.
video game. He's on the couch playing Wii, you
Hi,
know.
Mom.
Right, have a good show. Te quiero mucho, right? And then they just can't wait for me to get the fuck out of the house.
Right.
So him and his father could play Wii.
Undisturbed. Miami, unfortunately, does not have a huge
Following.
following. It's very hard to get anything off the ground here.
Yeah.
Why is that, do you think?
I think everything is word of mouth or what's cool, what's popping, you know. I've always gone by this theory in sales, when you feed one pigeon, then they all come. You give one bird a little piece of bread, and then they all come like little pigeons, you know. So I think that's really the metaphor behind all this. Same like artistic vibes. I'm sure it was just a couple of people just telling other people. And 2014 they were nominated and they won Best of the Best open mic. That took a lot of years. I think they're just
Miami New Times or what was
by
it?
Miami New Times. But they just finished their 5 years as a business, 3 years as an open mic. So I mean, it took them 3 years to actually get the word around, you know. But I think it's all struggling with anything. I mean, there's just so much going on in Miami. Like, I'll give you an example. I was in Syracuse, and in Syracuse, there's only 4 or 5 mics. Where in Miami, there's hundreds of things to do.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I collaborated a calendar on meetup.com to find an alternative route for fan base and people to follow comedy and support live comedy. And I went to Meetup. There was no stand-up comedy perspective. There was only improv and long form and short form, you know, like just the funny and things like that.
Right.
But there was no actual stand-up comedy guidelines or go-to guide. So I created a guide for South Florida, and I post 3 counties: Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade, and all the shows, whether it be an open mic or a book show. Now that has helped the Miami scene a lot, and I'll tell you why. I get message from them, people who have started comedy because they found that link. I would say over a dozen people have come to me personally and said, hey, thank you for having that meetup up. I would have never found, I didn't have Facebook. I got Facebook through comedy to help me advertise my comedy. Or, you know, same thing with me. I had Facebook like to contact my family in New York, but I didn't use it to advertise, hey, where's comedy? I didn't know how.
Right.
All I knew was Google and the Miami Improv. So I put together that meetup, and even people who are coming from out of state, they'll be referred to me, like, oh, Julie Baez has a guide. Oh, I'm coming from California. I'm coming from New York. I'm coming from Atlanta. I'm Georgia. Do you know any mics? And obviously I can't remember all of them, but I'm like, here, click here, become a member, follow the group, and then you'll be able all the notifications of what's going on right now.
Right.
So that has helped a little bit. At one point, I almost shut the program down because I didn't see growth from it. And as like the people who are members will get notifications like this group is going to be terminated.
Right.
Date, right? Mm-hmm. I had people message me, active comedians, audience members, like random people say, oh, don't take this down. It's really a great tool.
But that's the thing too. A lot of Miami, like they don't want you to take it down, but they also
don't want
click
to take
like.
it exactly.
So they don't support it
until
but they want you to get rid of it.
Right. Until that moment, I realized a lot of it is ghost followers or fake followers or whatever you want to call it. And I'll take it. I don't care at this point. If I could see someone is viewing it, if I could monitor, like through Facebook and you have a fan page account, you could see your metrics. Right. You may not get likes.
Yeah.
But the system, exactly, but the system is collecting data for you where you could see who's gone on, how many posts, what impact has that post made, how many people did it reach. Right. I might make a post, I'm going to be performing at the Improv, and maybe I get 2 likes, but I'll have 315 views. That means 315 people actually clicked it but didn't like it. Right. That's okay with me.
It's not okay with me.
It's okay with me.
No, I hate that.
You know why?
Because you go through all the trouble of creating content and then they watch it, but they can't leave a fucking comment.
Right.
Or
unless
a like,
it's negative.
Or a subscribe or whatever, especially for us for the YouTube. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's a big deal.
Well, I subscribed, okay?
Well, thank you. Because, you make the content. Absolutely. People are watching it. And then nothing.
I also think everything is word of mouth. It's all about finding an incentive. What's in it for me? Nowadays, everything's like, okay, but what's in it for me?
Yeah, not even every day. It's like it's always been like that.
I think more now than ever, and especially in South Florida. Like I went to Syracuse. I was just saying.
So you're saying to give away free cupcakes? Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. It's an incentive.
Right.
All right. No, you're going to have a great time. Nobody cares about a good time. What am I going to get out of it?
What the fuck do they want from it?
I don't know.
I don't know
I
either.
haven't found it
Would
either.
you be willing to move to New York City? Or have you considered moving
Absolutely.
out of this city to get your career going?
Absolutely. And my husband has mentioned to me that he would do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's not even a problem.
Absolutely.
And this is the sad part about Miami. That
everybody wants to leave.
Everybody wants to leave. There's a lot of talent here.
And I say leave. This is my hometown. I feel like, you know what, not that it's my duty, but I feel like if I want to make anything better, it would be where I live, right? And not only that, this is all I know. Yeah, I know a little bit of New York, but this is all I know. I could get here with my eyes closed. Yeah. You know what I mean? I did. That's why I got lost. But I'm like, okay, I know where I'm at, South Miami area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
So, again, I think it's about being passionate about believing in your product.
Right.
As a salesperson, everybody's selling it. You know, your personality, your character, morale.
Right.
You know, I had a client the other day who did something, and all this time I said, man, why didn't he say anything? So to me, it's a test of morale, and now he left a bad taste in my mouth, you know? So when I see a Miami or South Florida comedian abandoning or being negative about his own town, well, you know what? You don't deserve to be here anyway, because not everybody can subside. You know, to live here, you have to be strong. You have to be quick. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Really? I'm going to challenge you on that. I think it's the opposite. I think people come here when they want to take it more easy.
No way.
Because in places like New York, for example,
you
Chicago,
have to walk.
LA,
you have to hustle. I get that.
You have to hustle.
That's only because there's no transportation readily available. But think about the hustle you have to do here to maintain a lifestyle, to maintain a look. In New York City, you can just put a rag, a coat. It doesn't matter if you're matching, as long as you're warm. It don't matter. Nobody cares. See, over here, you gotta look great.
But it's all. How much of it do you think is just looking great, though? You know what I mean? And how does that work against the creative arts, like improv, or like?
Oh yeah.
Like Mike Mercadal even said, and it's true. Yeah. That's what's wrong with Miami. The question always is, where do I put the DJ? That's the problem. Everything's DJ based. Everything's music based. Everything's EDM based.
And so I think I was talking about this the other day. I was even considering bringing a DJ to both of my venues.
Right.
But it's not weird if it's in Miami. Now, if I
Right.
go to any other place, I'm like, a DJ? Now, you think back to Apollo Theater, they had somewhat of an MC, DJ, ambient, like, something. Or
Right.
the Def Jam comedy, where they
Right.
had a DJ and the guy would be like, you suck, man, and
Yeah.
scratch the record or something.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like I'm going to incorporate what we have. What does Miami have that no other city can provide? 24/7 party life. 24/7, over the top, elite, VIP. That's what people care about. And truthfully speaking, that's my goal, to find a venue where people amongst our community to say, you know what, I will come back here because they have $50 bottle, $150 bottle, and they have champagne, and they have
And
a DJ,
comedy.
and they have the.
And
That's
then
what,
put the comedy
and then
in
put
there.
the comedy in there. Unfortunately, I feel like this is the only city that could probably get away with that because they're lacking culture.
Absolutely, and that is a big problem. And I feel like
Like, I know when I meet someone, like when I met, I'm like, she's not from around here. Like, I know,
Right.
Because of the way the talent and the communication and the knowledge, and also just I South Florida public school systems is not the best. I think about it all the time, moving from here because I don't want my kids to grow up in the same.
right.
I grew up in Kendall. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I'm in Hialeah now, so it's not that bad either, but it's almost the same, right?
Right.
But at the same time, this is all I know. You know what I mean? And I feel like,
Are you afraid to leave?
no way. My mom left. She can't stand it. She's like, ay, no quiero nada que ver con Miami, because esa gente me tiene loca con el
Yeah.
But then I'm sure she pops in here for a croqueta, she'll die right now. You know what I mean? Like, un cafecito, una croqueta at a gas station. Where else can you find that, No, I'm not afraid to leave. I had a lot of people that say that Miami sucks, and I'm like, no way. I believe in this product. This is a huge investment. Miami is huge. Everybody wants to be here. Everybody wants a part of Miami. And I don't feel any way that it's negative. Maybe the traffic and the rage in the road. Like, the other day I was driving, I'm like, Jesus, like, I just came from Syracuse. People are like, beep, beep, go ahead. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, no, that doesn't
Really?
happen
I'm like, really? I could go? Really? I could go? Like, I wasn't sure.
You thought they were just telling you to like a ram the shit out of your car. Right.
But
Exactly.
I think again, it's about taking the initiative and maybe turning the scene, I hate to use that word, the community, okay, in all arts and not just music. I was at a mic one day about a year ago. Phenomenal guitarist. He killed it. And the packed house.
Right.
2 claps.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you people?
What is wrong?
Like, I looked around, and I was one of the 2 people like, wow! And nobody appreciated that skill and that talent. And I think it has to go back to the feeding of the pigeon. People are afraid to be different. They all kind of want to blend in and look great, but nobody really wants to be great.
Right.
I don't think I'm going to be the one. I don't know if I'll be the one, but maybe I could inspire someone. You know what I mean? Or maybe in a couple of years, someone else would come in. I'd be like, okay, this is all the shit I did wrong. Don't do those things.
Right.
I don't care about who makes it. I just want someone to make it
Right.
and
Yeah.
really represent Miami correctly. That's really what it's about.
Right.
Represent Miami for what it really is. There's a lot of comedians who I would say they represent Miami very good, but because they probably don't have the right exposure, they're limited. And I don't want to have that problem. I want to be able to target all different markets. The quality I feel like I have is that I speak very good English. I could blend in, especially audio.
Yeah.
But when they're like, tú eres negra, like they'll be like, what? She's black? Yeah. But you have to be able to find all those niches because Miami is such a melting pot.
Right.
You can't, like, right now my focus is Latinos. Bilinguals, people like you and I, who can understand both languages and who could get the innuendos and jokes.
Right.
Because if I go to an all Spanish audience, they're not going to get those innuendos.
No.
They're not going to understand the meaning behind those jokes
Right.
or the paraphrasing and the things like that.
The references. That's
The
a
references,
hard one.
that's very hard.
Yeah.
I had a guy who said, I want to do a show. Can you do the jokes in Spanish? I'm like, Yeah, but they're not going to translate the same.
Right, exactly.
You know, they're not going to
Absolutely.
translate the same. Where our community in our city is, predominantly Spanish speaking.
Right.
We still have a large population of Latin Americans,
Right.
Cuban Americans, Dominican Americans, Puerto Ricans who speak both languages very well, or more English than Spanish, like on their day to day. Like you speak probably English first before you speak Spanish.
Absolutely.
Me too.
Right.
Even though Spanish is my first language, I think in English.
Were you raised in Dominican Republic?
Until the age 5, and then I came to Kendall.
Oh, straight to
Straight to
Miami.
Kendall.
So you've only
American
known this.
Airlines. I didn't come in a boat. I didn't go to New York.
No banana boat for you?
Nope.
No.
My parents had money. Came on American. Actually, online. It was Eastern Airlines. It was Eastern Airlines.
You know what? I do remember that.
Remember
because
Eastern Airlines?
Because I was a little kid. I'm not even kidding you. Like, this is the honest truth. And my mom would send me sometimes, like, in summers down here to see my family. And I remember I had to fly, they gave me the little wings because I had to fly by myself.
I had that too.
I had that too.
So it was so fun. And I don't know what I did with the wings. I wish I had them now because I'm sure on eBay they'd sell for like $1 million or something.
Yeah.
Did they
I was...
they give you a little nap.
A little lanyard.
Yeah, lanyard that has your
You
tickets
put
in
all
it.
your stuff in there.
Isn't
Yeah.
that cute?
Yeah, it was great. I used to love those days.
Back in the
I mean,
day.
my family wrapped me up with money. So I was under a poofy dress. And I'd sit like really uncomfortable.
So you're like a drug mule, but with money.
Kinda with money. Because, they didn't want me to get robbed,
Right,
So they're like, Mija, we have to wrap you. I'm like, but why am I under this? And then my mom gave me this poofy dress. And they send me to DR, with like money, like a drug lord or something.
That's hilarious.
Just because I had, a couple $1,000s just so I wouldn't get robbed. In Santo Domingo, they have the little scanning machines for your luggage, but they still open the bag.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, they still do it. And
okay.
you're like, oh, okay. All of a sudden you get home, you're like, I'm missing a shoe. Why would they take one shoe? De maldad. They just do it de maldad, like just to fuck with you.
It's to fuck with
Like,
your
damn.
straightening iron or some other
Yes.
shit.
I'm like,
fuck
really?
you, man. Fuck you, bro. Seriously.
I know. I remember the last time I came back, I haven't gone to DR in almost 16 years, probably 17. And the last time I came back, my grandmother put a salchichon, a salami, 2 feet long. This long, dude. I'm not kidding. It's like
In your luggage?
yeah. She wrapped it in newspaper. She said the dogs won't smell it because it was wrapped in newspaper.
Right, because newspapers,
Right,
like, dogs can't smell past newspaper.
Carbon ink, right. And I was like, okay. And she put a bottle of Barcelona rum for my dad, and the salami was for me.
Oh, God.
And you're on the plane, and back then you have to check off, are you bringing any produce, any perishables, any fruit? And I'm like, no. I'm like 16 years old. I get to Miami International, they put a sticker on my maleta, and they're like, ma'am, right over here. And I'm 16. I'm at Sunset Senior High,
Oh, my God.
junior year. Okay?
goodness.
Did you get arrested?
Almost. They put me in a green room for like an hour. Literally, it was painted green.
Oh, my God.
Okay? Like the roof, everything was green.
You know it's a mind fuck. That's what
Yeah.
It's a mind fuck,
So I was in there like, oh my god, I'm gonna get deported. Oh my god, because I wasn't a U.S. citizen yet, and I was like, I'm gonna get deported. And he's like, why did you lie? Why did you lie in the paperwork?
Oh,
I'm like,
Jesus.
my grandmother said the dogs wouldn't smell the freaking salami.
He's like, there's salami in here too.
So they kept the salami, those bastards. They kept the salami.
Motherfuckers.
Oh,
They
goodness.
pulled out the salami and they're like, oh, míralo aquí, it's salchichón, and they pulled it out and the guy started cutting it and eating it with like a freaking army knife that he had in his pocket. He sliced it open, took some of the crackers that were there. He just eating, looking at me, and I'm like, ese salami me lo dio mi abuela. I'm like, my grandma gave me that, And he started asking me questions like, how old are you? Are you sure you're not a drug dealer? How long were you in Santo Domingo?
my God.
And why? And what school do you go to? I'm like, Sunset. I'm in the student council. I'm in arts. I'm a thespian. I'm in chorus. Like, what's your chorus teacher's name? And he's like, fucking with me. And I was like, yeah, and I just wanted to get salami. And they left the Barcelona rum, and I was a minor. They left the rum.
And they took the salami.
They don't give a fuck about the rum. They're like, miren salchichón. I was like, the one that's like, you don't find that down here. You'll only find the little ones.
Clearly, because what is that encased in? Like, seriously, it's 2 feet fucking long.
2 feet long.
Holy fuck. All right, let me ask you this, because we're wrapping it up. I know you have a show to go tonight.
Yeah, I do.
Right? Just really quick. What is the 3-year plan? I'm not gonna ask you what the 5-year plan is.
I have no idea.
No idea.
You know, I really don't. I mean, comedy changes. Your life changes. You know, I never thought I would last this long. I don't think I'm that funny. You know, I want to go back to what I started comedy for, which is writing. You know, whether it be a sitcom or a show or for myself. You know, just focus on that for a while and work on my hour, perhaps, and see what happens. And that takes a couple of years. It's not overnight, especially when you have a real life and a day life and all that. But hopefully, you know, I'll be able to leave this town and either go on the west side. I don't think I'll go to New York. As much as my kids love New York. I took my kids just a couple of days because my mom's like, take your kids next time. I'm like, listen, Ma, I am not Kevin Hart. Okay? I don't have a private plane. Okay, I can't bring my kids and my husband, but I brought them. I took my bonus money and I just brought them with me. But I didn't even get to work. I worked 3 nights out of the 5 that I was there because by the 4th night I was exhausted.
Right.
You know, Madison, no, the subway and the train. And it was just so much. It's not the same when you're alone working.
Right.
So the last 2 nights I just canceled the show and I hated it. I hate to do that.
Right.
That's not my style. I could be sick, could be coming back from a funeral. I will go to my show. But... yeah, I don't think I'll go to New York because I can't stand the cold. 2, I hate walking.
Oh my god. Are you fucking crazy? You are from Miami.
I was like, taxi!
Miami.
He's like, yes. I'm like, take me to the train. He's like, it's 2 blocks. I'm like, I know, man. Just drive, bro. I don't want to walk
bro?
Like, I don't want to walk anymore. Do you understand? I just came from Washington Heights. Like, I don't want to walk.
Fucking love Washington. I lived in Washington Heights. I love it.
I'll just go for the food.
I love Washington Heights. I was very happy there.
You know, I'm Dominican. You know, I'm like, you know.
I was very happy.
Like, to see my culture out there. I'm like, ta cosa tan grande aquí. You know, it's just too much for me. I'd rather be around Cubans, to be honest.
Oh God.
No, I don't know.
We're the other way. Happy.
El dominicano is so lazy.
In Washington Heights. So what? It's fun, man.
El cubano es un trabajador. He's, you know, pam. El dominicano is like, dame un chin de ron ahí, voy a soltarlo aquí afuera. And I'm like, what? No, we gotta move, you know. Like,
it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Why are you at work?
Right.
But
I went to a restaurant in Washington Heights. We sit down.
And Malecón is the best restaurant.
I think it went to Malecón.
I mean,
we sat down.
So good.
And the girl's like, I'll be right with you. It's fine. But ya voy para allá. All right. And 10 minutes goes by. I'm like, can we get a drinks?
Water?
Soda for the kids? Something. Bread. Anything. And she gives me the menu. And then I was like, okay, I'll have la ropa vieja. Oh, no hay ropa vieja. And he's like, okay, I'll have, you know, he's Cubanized. You know, so he's like, palomilla, you know, like, he's Puerto Rican, but you can't even get guandules out of him, you know, like.
So he's not doing the...
He's Cubanized.
He's not doing the arroz con gandule and the pork chops.
No, he's Cubanized, un pan con bistec, or a Cuban sandwich, or ropa vieja. That's Cuban talk, right?
Right.
And I'm like, and she's like, no hay de eso. And I put the menu down. I'm like, why the fuck did you give me this menu? Tell me what you do have. And she looks back like she doesn't know. Right. She's like, arroz, habichuela, chuleta, carne molida, y salami. I'm like, dame salami. Dame salami. Like, you know.
My grandmother gave me one a long time ago.
So, yeah, it's sometimes I look at the menu, I'm like, come on, people, let's get it together.
Okay,
you
so
know?
maybe the west side, like what, San Fran or something like this?
Or even, you know, Nevada, Arizona, it's not too far away.
You don't want to live in Arizona. You do not. Arizona is a horrible place. You don't want to live there.
Why?
It is a horrible place filled with meth addicts. You don't want to live there.
Nevada's the same way. It's also where you live.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in
There's no water there.
Yeah, that's true.
It sucks. I lived there for about 8 months. It was a horrible experience.
I like the weather out there. I like the weather. It's dry, cold, dry heat, you know.
8 a.m., it's 120 degrees.
Yeah.
Burning right through everything. It's like searing heat.
But it's close to LA. You can find
then
really
why not LA? Arizona's bad. Don't go there. Just don't go there.
I think it's because my mom's in New Mexico. Like, I want to find a state where I could drive
You want to see her.
around. Yeah, I want to be able to drive around her or through her or at her.
Preferably.
Right. I'm like, Mom, come for the summer. She's like, I know, Michael's going to take me to Hawaii. I'm like, who's not going to want to go to Hawaii?
Right.
Versus
Michael,
her
boyfriend.
fiance,
Okay.
solar power engineer.
Okay.
And, you know, so, yeah, he's rich and stuff. So I'm like, but you don't want to see your grandkids? Like, pero yo nunca he ido a Hawaii. You know. But back to the scene. I have this other room that I didn't get to say earlier. It's in the area of Wynwood, Miami-ish.
Where?
42nd 20 Northwest 2nd Ave. It's called Majestical Lips. It's an outdoors patio. Inside the business is a holistic herb store.
Okay.
So like all the natural supplements for medicinal supplements and herbs and
Hippie shit.
Yeah, and ganja, like Rasta stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But pretty much any kind of herb or plant that you're looking for to remedy of a medical condition. So behind that facility, they have like an outdoor patio. They do a monthly poetry show.
Okay.
And they wanted to incorporate comedy. And they're very generous, very supportive with comedy. It's only been out for about 4 months. We do it once a month.
What day do you do it?
The last Friday of the month.
Okay.
Since this month is going to be Black Friday, that sounds racist.
It is racist.
It actually is. So we're going to do it the 3rd. We're going to blend both the shows, the poetry and the comedy, together this month. Normally poetry's on the 3rd, and then we do the 4th.
So they're going to do the 2nd, and you guys are
No, we're just going to blend them in.
Oh, you're going to do it together.
Yeah,
okay,
she's really nice. The host is El Michelle. She's phenomenal poet. She's been like on all those erotic poetry shows and things like that. So, but yeah, those 2 rooms for now, and I'm working on something out of Broward just because I wanted to expand the fan base and the network and be able to give the Broward comedians a stage as well.
So where do you do that?
Working on another venue because I let go of Stash, or they let go of me, however it may be, and working with Broward Music and Art Center as well. So
where? Okay. I'm gonna ask you one last question.
Yeah.
And then I want you to tell everybody where they can find out more information about, your Instagram and everything else. Okay, what do you know now that you wish you would have known 3 years ago?
All right. So what I know now, huh? Yeah, I mean, it's like a job, right? So you don't want to, shit where you eat and things like that. Personally, I haven't done anything that I think has perjudicado me or put me in any jeopardy of anything. But I have seen other people do things that might affect their progress or growth. Just be careful not to burn bridges with shows, people. At the end of the day, we're a very small amount of comics. We all have to work together eventually. Maybe you may not work with that person this month, but in a year from now, you might work for that person or with that person,
right,
or open for that person or MC at that show. So there's times that you have to just play the cards right and be respectful, be professional, as much as maybe you don't like that person, but because there's so many, so little opportunities, you want to make sure you're able to work with every single comedian. And at the same time, who's going to bring you on board if you're negative, or who's going to work with you if you're not a good team player, right?
Right.
I think in the beginning, I think what I wish I did have, I will say this, I wish I had a guide, the way I provided for most of the people that started recently. A lot of people that have moved on came to me and said, because of this meetup or because of your link, I was able to start doing my own mics. I wish I had that. I know comedian Lisa Corral. She's up in Nickelodeon. She does commercials for like Swap Shop. Like she's a really well-known comedian. She did have something like that, but through her own personal website. So if you didn't know her, you would have never found it.
Right.
So I didn't know her. Again, I only found what Google showed me. So I think that if we had something like that in the beginning when I started, I would have struggled for months, maybe a year, to be able to network and say, oh, there's a mic, where? Show me, give me can I follow you?
Right.
I'll go in my car,
Right.
And people are like, oh my God, there's a black girl following us. She lives in Hialeah, she's driving all the way to Boca. She's psycho for 5 minutes comedy, So I think if I had that in the beginning, and maybe all of us would be able to have a guide to where to go, not just the improv stations and locations, but again, like an actual comedy-based guide, run by comedians.
Right.
Because all these comedy spots are run by comedians, which is so important. I hate working at a venue and they have nothing to do with comedy or any knowledge of comedy or how the comedy scene works or what to expect on a bomb night. Because not every night's going to be great. So,
do you think that if there was a night in Miami, like a venue that was open every night for comedy, do you think that, number one, that there would be enough comedians, or that comedians would be willing to work
absolutely.
it? Absolutely. And
there's a mic every night.
But in the same venue, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you think that there would be, like, who would go?
As long as you have a car and you have motivation, yeah. As far as audience, you're saying?
Audience.
It's all who you're targeting and who's going to be performing. Now, if you're going to get a 50-year-old comedian, then you're going to have a different market of audience members. You see
The
what I mean?
diversity's better.
Of course.
Right.
Of
The more
course.
diverse, the bigger
Of
the crowd.
course. Of course. Now, I'm not going to say that's not always true, because like when I went to Syracuse, I was a little skeptical. I looked in the audience, I'm like 99.9% Caucasian with blonde hair and gray hair. So that means they were either in their mid-50s and they were white. So I'm like, oh, I don't know if, that's only so much I could do, right? And they loved it.
They loved it.
Like more than 90 people came up to me, and I didn't count, but it was 300
Not
people.
really, but the
Yeah,
clicker in my pocket.
I'm like 28, 38.
Exactly.
All right.
I stopped counting after 60. But if a lot of people come up to you like, wow, that's such a fresh air, like something different, man, that's important. Like, oh, you're a female and you talk that way and you're funny and you said what you had in your mind. You didn't care.
Do you think that people are amazed that women are capable of doing
being
that, or that
funny?
they're willing to do that? Because the whole thing was like, forever women aren't funny, right?
Yeah.
So men always say women aren't funny. You can't have a woman do, for example, a late night show. No one will watch it. Women aren't funny. Women aren't funny. And then you have to do like clean jokes or whatever is the advice. Like, but do you think that people are amazed, or how do you?
Well, I'll tell you this. When I did a show at the very beginning, I was probably like 6 months in. I was at Artistic Vibes, actually. I did a show there. They have a monthly show called Laugh Attack, which I'll be there next Friday the 13th. And they have like a little battle thing. You do a little contest, like Last Comic Standing type of thing, and then they have a real showcase, right? And I did the contest and the battle, and I went outside. I was devastated. I'm like, oh man, it was awful. But again, I'm like 6 months in, And somebody came outside of me, a friend of mine. He's a comedian. He says, Jules, to be a comedian, female comedian, you either have to be fat, ugly, or a lesbian. And I started crying in my car. And he was sitting in my car like, why are you crying? I'm like, because I'm fat,
You're not fat, but okay.
But I felt like, okay, well, why didn't they like me? I'm fat, I'm ugly, So, but yeah, that's really the truth. People have a perception of what a comedian should be. I think that there's females out there that love comedy, but they may not watch it as much because there's not that many female comics. Or maybe they haven't found that comedian to really gravitate them. Like when Chelsea Handler came out, I was like obsessed. I'm like, oh my God, we have a late night female talk show host who cusses on TV. I loved it. I was a huge fan from when in high school when Ellen used to be at 3 o'clock. I used to haul ass from high school at 2:30 to make it for the 3 o'clock Ellen. There was no DVRs,
Right.
You got a VHS, but who the fuck is going to record VHS Ellen, right? So I would haul ass from school to make it on time for that one moment when she would come out and start dancing and do her little thing. I loved it. I was like obsessed with her when I was a kid. And then Rosie had her show for a little while. Even Ricky Lake, that's a talk show,
But talk show is not comedian, though.
No, it's not.
You're allowed to talk,
Yeah.
like Oprah.
Yeah.
You're allowed to talk. You're allowed to interview people. You're allowed to get deep and serious. But you're not allowed to speak
funny.
your mind. You're not allowed to be funny. You're not allowed to say fuck this sucks, you people should die.
Yeah.
You can't say any of that.
Right. And
So
then,
then how the fuck are
so
you,
then one
like-
day I subscribe to Howard TV and I see Lisa Lampanelli like
And
in
you fucking were
like in
in
2005.
Amazing.
And no, actually, I was like esta grosera.
Really?
I honestly was like
so
slightly.
you were actually part of the problem.
I was.
You're like-
I was like, mira, I'm gonna like this girl. I mean, que grosera, you know, like, really unladylike, and she fucks black guys, you know, like the whole. I'm like, that did it, you know. These white bitches, you know, whatever. But I'm kidding. No, but it turned because people were not used to that.
Right.
So then my mind opened up to like, wow, I could really do whatever I want. Who's gonna tell me I can't?
Exactly.
You have that control when you're on stage. When it comes to actual like production and TV, then there's some rules, and you want to be clean. Like I did a recording for Comedy Time, and it had to be a clean set, and I bombed it. I mean, I did as best as I could,
But it wasn't the same.
but it's not me.
Right.
It's not me, and I could sit there and pretend it was me, but the camera could tell
Right.
that I was nervous, that I was not being myself. Maybe one day, and I think about it all the time. Maybe one day, my daughter's gonna turn the TV and she's gonna be like, "Mommy, is that you? You hate me that much?" You know. My son even said to me, "You know, you're a comedian." This is like a year ago when he actually understood what I was doing. And Nick at Night has a late night Nick Mom's comedy show.
How cute. I didn't know
it's
that.
real female comedians, professional female comedians on a late night Nickelodeon show called Nick Moms or something like that.
That's awesome.
So when your kid falls asleep at 10:30 at night, this stand-up comedy show comes up. Lisa Corral is on there, as a matter of fact. So my son's like, "Mommy, I want you on that show, okay?
Aww.
I'll wait for you to be on the show." And he'll go to sleep, and I'm like, "Oh boy, I have to put the timer on the TV so it'll turn off because I'm not going to be on the show." He'll stay up all night waiting for me. I hope one day I could get to where I could do that, where I could change my material and have it family friendly or whatnot. Maybe I won't, but look at Eddie Murphy. Back to Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Eddie Murphy was my hero growing up. This guy had an amazing laugh. First of all, that laugh.
Yeah, I know. Forget it.
Yeah, I used to be obsessed with Eddie Murphy.
I actually saw him live.
Really?
Yes. And
The
I
old
left,
Eddie Murphy or the new Eddie Murphy?
he was no
In transition.
The old
Okay.
no, I think it was the old right before he got like
White.
well, you know what? Before he got too boring.
Before he became cool
Corporate.
Eddie Murphy.
Became
yeah,
corporate.
Yeah,
Cool
corporate. Let's
Eddie
say
Murphy.
that. He was this before that. I left the theater with a raging migraine because I was
Just
laughing,
laughing so hard.
My head
So
felt like it
yeah,
was
so
gonna
let's
explode.
start with like Eddie Murphy. Everybody says that you start dirty and you clean it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Eddie Murphy was like motherfucker and motherfucker and motherfucker. Oh, that's all he ever said. And then one day he did the Nutty Professor.
And that was it.
And that was it.
And then 1999
And then he
came
did
around.
Hercules, and then he did all these characters, and then Tyler Perry came out, and I'm like, God dang it, black people, let's stay ghetto. Why are we changing it up for white people? You know, I'm kidding. But I mean, it had to be done in order to get exposure. You know, to get the exposure he needed. Like back to what I said, Forrest Shaw gave me the only advice that I have it drilled in my head is clean comedy gets you better gigs. So I'm sure Eddie Murphy realized, you know what, my kids are getting older. They're going to watch me soon.
Right.
Let me do something for my family. Adam Sandler, same thing.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler, his first coming movies were kind of weird and, you know,
Right.
sexual and just really different content. Now it's like family based and trips and field trips with the kids and married with children. And it's completely different content now.
Although I will say this, look at Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
She's blue. She's always
Yeah.
been that. She's never changed. She's never cleaned it up. And yet, if you watch Trainwreck,
Yeah.
did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet.
You
I'm
have to.
waiting for the unrated version on Blu-ray, which I think came out yesterday.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, and I don't think that she's sold out at all, not even a little bit. She's still herself.
Yeah.
But the movie's great.
Yeah, I think Amy Schumer is like one of those very rare cases. I've heard great things from people who've known her. My brother's friend Jared knew her like working in New York back in the days at the restaurant business when they were both modeling or acting, whatever. And they tell me the same thing. Like she's exactly that person.
Right.
She's that. Do I think maybe one day she will change? Probably with fame and different content, maybe better opportunities, better pay. If someone tells her, "Hey, I want you to do this movie, but I don't want you to be like you. I want it to be like this." You never know. You just never know if she'll keep it real or not. You know,
Right.
you just never know. But where I want to be in 3 years, just to close it up, honestly, I just want to be where on a stable gig, you know, maybe not leaving Miami if I don't leave Miami. Something stable where I could get a regular gig on a local club. If not improv, there's the home field. If not, you know, there's just so many opportunities. We have so many hotels, so many venues in Miami, from Brickell
Right.
to the beach, downtown. Maybe a hotel will hire me and put me to do a show there on a monthly show. I mean, there's just so many opportunities. I really do believe that. You just have to find the right venue and audience.
Awesome. Julie, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
I love
You're
you guys.
amazing.
Thank you for dinner.
So, yeah, you're welcome.
I'm
And
so spoiled.
tell everybody where they can follow what's going on.
On Wednesday, if you're in the Fort Lauderdale area, I'll be performing at the Improv Fort Lauderdale inside the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. It's an 8 o'clock show. You can email me at jbcomic305@gmail.com.
Tell them about the meetup so they can
find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, Snapchat. They're all the same. JB Comic. JB Comic. Pretty simple. My website's juliebaez.net because I don't come. I thought that was gross.
Spell Baez. It's Baez.
Yeah, Julie, JulieBaez.net. And if you're interested in coming out to any shows, whether you'd be in Palm Beach, Broward, or Dade, you could join the meetup. It's www.meetup.com/laugh-all-you-want. Just like that, laugh all you want. I also have a podcast coming out, which I've been working on for a while. It's called Laugh All You Want. And it's all about comedy in Miami. You know, where to go, who's funny right now, things like that.
Exactly. You're amazing. We love you.
Thank you for loving. I love you guys. Thank you very much.
So that was amazing. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I loved it. It was a good interview.
Yeah. What do you think about Julie?
Oh, she's hilarious.
Right?
Yeah.
She's awesome. No, honestly, she's fucking awesome. So happy that she came out. I think we had a pretty good show considering.
Yeah.
First
First episode.
Time. Yep.
Yeah.
First time out, first time in. and next episode will be potluck.
Potluck.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys will be listening, and hopefully I'll have my fucking car keys by then. All this shit will be resolved, and yeah, so I'm ready to go to sleep.
Me too. Well, I gotta drive home, but
I know.
it was an easy drive. It's only 15 minutes away.
True that.
True that.
So
She's gotta rest well before she reams the dealership's butt.
absolutely. Actually, I don't need to rest that much because I'm always ready to ream at any time of the day or night. In case no one out there believes me, I want you to try it. Try me. And I'm there like a bear. So it's been real. Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you, Nadia.
And thank you guys for listening in. Girl Talks.